see this a lot where it is the sous chef that ends up holding everything together.
Absolutely.
And doing the commands. And then this guy is out in the front, sipping on some wine with the table. Oh, maybe I should get back. And then he's doing this. And I get it. You're really juggling your part management and your part, orchestrator of your position, which is executive chef and things like that. But he just didn't have it for me. Hi, welcome to the Modern Waiter Podcast. I'm Marlon Joseph, the Modern Waiter, where we discuss all things restaurant business. Learn something. Laugh at something. On today's episode, we are continuing our restaurant movie series with episode number 9 in the restaurant movie series with 2021's Boiling Point. Full spoilers ahead. And here to help us discuss is our friend Omar Eraso. But first, the intro.
Tired of working deadbeat jobs for lame pay. I'm tired of getting fired and hired the same day. If you know the rules of the game, then you'll stay. And if you don't, then you'll be a pawn.
As usual, I'm joined by my good friend Danny DeVilla.
What's up, people?
Now, before we start the show, as usual, we do appreciate everyone who tunes in to see us each and every week. We do this for you each and every week. If you find our show informative, fun, if you're just discovering it for the first time, give us a like. We are now on YouTube, and a perfect way to get in touch with us or to react to the episode is to just comment on the bottom. Consider subscribing, and the best way, if you've been listening for a long time and you want to support the show, just pass it on to a friend. It's a little share button. If you know anyone who would enjoy our content, please do, and that really, really help us out. So gratitude for that. And welcome to the show once again, the Golden Goose. Omar, what's up, brother?
Oh, dog.
It's so good to be back, gentlemen.
Yeah, man. Good to have you back.
Thank you.
What's up, brother?
You.
Not only that, it's exciting because this man loves movies.
Yeah.
You're looking at Siskel and Ebert rolled into one.
He's got his movie glasses on.
Let's get right into it. Movie starts out. I think you watched it most recently. You watched it.
I watched it Friday or Thursday or Friday. Yeah.
Okay, and I watched it last night.
Okay.
Listen, I hate to do. Quite literally, I finished just watching it. By the way, it was because you know what? So Marlon goes, we're gonna do a couple movies, event, And he goes, what about the menu? I go, I watched that one recently. I really, I like that. I go, I'll watch it again. So I go ahead, I go, hey, listen, I watched the movie. And then all of a sudden he goes, no, we're not doing the menu anymore. Meanwhile, I had already taken notes down and shit. I was ready to go. He's like, okay. So he goes, what movie are you going to watch? He goes, I go, what movie are you going to do? He goes, Boiling Point. And I said, Boiling Point? So I Googled it. It was with Wesley Snipes. So I go,
he sends me a thing. He's like, is this one? I was like, definitely not.
I remember that Boiling Point too. No, not that one.
So now I'm scrambling to there's football games on. There's a new movie. HBO's got a new show that I want to watch, and I go, man, I gotta watch this. And then I ended up watching the 3/4 of it, and on the way here,
it's like homework.
Yeah. No, but it's a good movie. Really good movie. All right, we'll get into that, I imagine.
Yes, we will.
Sorry.
Now, it starts out with an inspection of some kind. It looks like a health inspection, right?
Yeah.
That's how it starts out.
Totally a health inspection.
And
Definitely a health inspection.
In Europe.
No, they're in London.
In London.
Yeah, they're in London.
Okay, London, they said the city?
Well, you can tell because of everything.
It's
There's more than one city in
true,
the UK.
No.
True.
Oh, yeah, you're right. No, we talked. Oh, you were talking.
All right, they're definitely.
Because I said England.
Yeah, they're in England.
Well, I said it with England. He said London. I didn't really want to go into the boroughs.
I know, right? It is
the chapels they're in.
on 48th Street or whatever.
Definitely in England. Put it that
Yeah,
way.
definitely in England. And he's getting cut with it. This inspector does not F around. And
I didn't think he was that bad. I thought he was pretty normal.
he was a little condescending in my opinion.
Oh yeah, but he wasn't. but I feel like all inspectors are kind of that's their job to be that guy.
I've never.
I've done a dozen if I've done one.
Okay.
At least a dozen.
And how's it usually? How do you find that?
I found that him to be a 8 out of 10 annoying.
Okay.
But there wasn't a lot for him to shit on, honestly. The things that they were doing were really minuscule things, but he made it seem like hey, it's really a big deal. You
Yeah.
really need to pay attention to this. And you're like, I go, okay, yeah, she didn't wash her hand in the right sink. That's an easily correctable offense.
Yes.
This won't happen, and we're going to continue. But no, but the guy was a prick. And,
That's
and he
what I
was a
got
little,
from
and
it.
I felt he was a very, he knew the power structure there, that he was the guy in charge, and the other guy was at his peril, whether his score is
Oh
good
yeah,
or
I mean,
bad.
you could definitely tell he was like the kid who got picked on in school. Okay,
Yeah,
and
I mean, he
was
loves
exerting
his.
that
That
power.
guy. Do you think I love my job? That guy loves his job.
That
He was
guy loves
exerting
his
his
job.
power for sure.
Yes, he was, and I found that that scene where it's still a health inspection when he talks to the sous chef about the temperature in the cooler, and it
Yeah.
has
Oh,
to be
yeah.
eight
Celsius.
degrees or something
Yeah,
like that.
because
And
they use
then,
Celsius there,
she
so.
goes, okay, that's standard. He goes, yes, that is standard, but you can go be above and beyond and have it at 5 degrees. And she goes, yeah, but it's at 8, and 8's standard, right? It reminded me of the pieces of flair in Waiting, when he's like, if you want to do the minimum, that's fine. So he was like, just say what you want to say and get over. So he's getting inspected, and the guy's picking on little itty bitty
nitpicking,
details. Have you had? And I know you said you've had a bunch of inspections and stuff like that.
I had flashbacks of that whole movie. The 3/4 of the movie, I felt like every single scenario had been a part of or witnessed, or very very direct with it.
For sure, I felt the same way with a lot of things.
There's some pieces of PTSD in there for me too.
Oh my
yeah.
god! No, and the health inspector one is so annoying. Like I'm telling you, I've had situations where where they would stop sale on like when I worked at a Flanagan's.
Oh, wow.
And we had ribs, right? Meanwhile, listen, these restaurants when they open are like they're meant to be making $15,000-$20,000 a week, and now they're doing $100,000 a week in the same size
Same
kitchen,
tiny
because
space,
you know
yeah.
that kitchen didn't get any bigger.
Yeah.
They added some
no.
tables probably.
Yeah,
but
for
they
sure.
never had nothing the size of the kitchen. So one day we're like, I was in charge. I was a general manager at the time, and the guy comes in and tests the temperature of the ribs in the cooler, and he goes, "Oh, they're over temperature. I'm going to put a stop order on this. You basically wouldn't be able to sell ribs, which is like the end of the world for."
Oh, for sure,
Flanagan.
for sure.
So meanwhile now I'm trying to like finesse him into like, no, listen, I'll correct the problem, like, and there's got to be another way around it, and then I eventually was able to maneuver it, and where I came up with a solution that he wanted me to come up with, by the way, because he clearly knew what to do, and I said, listen, I'll ice bag everything in a particular fashion, it'll drop the temperature, because what happens is those freezers, we put the ribs in the freezers, and imagine putting 15 hotel pans worth of steam into a so it'll thaw everything around it.
Yeah.
Plus, so whatever. So now you did a different way. Now, so well, this is what we're gonna do for now, and then I was able to resolve
The
it.
ribs were par cooked.
Yeah, but
pretty
that
much,
was
so
because
they can. Well, you know what I mean. So they were.
Yes, correct. But what meanwhile, the moral of the story was, if you were that asshole that got caught with a fucking fraction like that, you could, the idea was that you would potentially be fired, But the other thing is, almost like you're kind of tarnished, like, oh, he was one of the managers that they had a stop order on. Like, you'll always be remembered as that.
Yeah.
I don't really think they would have fired me or whatever, but they would have, that would have been a fucking problem.
Yeah.
But those motherfuckers are menacing. Like, sometimes you catch them on a certain day, real nice, no problems.
Oh, just fix this,
oh, look, don't even. Some of the stuff, like, and another one's, my God, bro, incredibly tedious. Oh, you guys don't train these people. Like, seriously, everything that got, a lot of the stuff the guy did was just, this was a little elevated.
Yeah. So sorry you had to go through that again, watching the movie.
Oh, yeah.
So they get through the inspection with instead of a 5, they get a 3. And the owner's daughter comes through, and she's given.
It's a big day too, because it's what the day after Christmas or Christmas Day.
It's around Christmas time.
Yeah.
I don't remember that it was Christmas Day. It was Christmas time. It was a Friday night. They had a good amount of covers for that restaurant. It's a small restaurant,
Definitely a small spot, but yeah.
And they have an open kitchen. So the whole thing centers around the chef, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And I'll go into my criticisms of the movie in a little bit, but going through the beginning of the shift for Friday is where we find out what temperament the chef is and what level of execution he has, because after he blows up at his staff after receiving the
bad fiction.
yes, but then
I mean, I didn't feel like it was a blow, but it was almost like it was, that's the boss being the boss. Hey, this is what we got yelled at for, and bang.
No, yeah, but that's an aggressive amount of way to deal with.
Well, you can see. I mean, on his face, he was already kind of like out of it, anyways.
No. Yeah, no. But what I'm saying is that, and ideally speaking, I don't think anybody needs to be corrected in that fashion.
No, absolutely.
I agree with you. It was more belittling than he would ask them to repeat it. When somebody asks you a question and then you say it and then they ask you again so that they can kind of exert that like amount of humiliation onto you.
You want me to spell it too?
Yeah, exactly. So come on, man. So then you start to see the relationship and what did you think about the feeling in the restaurant? It didn't, like, I want to put words in your mouth. How did you find the level that restaurant was in?
It was fun and tense at the same time.
I didn't find that it was very tense at all.
Well, and the kitchen had a little tenseness, but the servers were very chill. They kind of reminded me.
It was more of a back of the house kind of oriented kind of situation. I thought
at first, yeah. And I thought it was pretty balanced.
It was balanced, absolutely.
As far as the movies that we've done in the past,
definitely balanced. When it comes to front of the house,
been front of the house or back of the house. This is one of the first movies.
It was really balanced.
One of the only compliments I have about it is that as a restaurant movie, you see both sides. Yeah.
Before we keep going, do you guys know that this movie was filmed in like a solid take, right? So they're not stopping. They're full. They just keep going the whole way. That was right.
So cinematically, that's the biggest compliment I could give to this movie is that
it's beautiful.
It pretty much has been done in one shot where it will follow a character and the character will lead you to the next scene or character, and so it just goes back and forth, and the handoffs are beautiful.
Yeah,
I thought because
they were gorgeous.
Like 20 minutes into the movie, I was like, I'm not seeing any cuts here. You know what I mean? It was just going into, like, they'll go into the back, they'll go outside, and then they'll hand it off to the front. And so the different characters there's always going to be a monkey bar where somebody hands you off to somebody else. But I'll get right into it. My criticism of the movie is that I never felt like I got character development. I was just kind of like a fly, but I wasn't on the wall for very long. Mm-hmm. I'd go into this room and pick up a piece of this conversation, go into that room and get.
But that's almost how like a restaurant runs. Like you think about it, if you're a guest at a restaurant, you're just a fly on that wall. Like it's almost watching it from that perspective. You're watching it through the lens of like almost being the guest. You're riding that wave with them, and that's how you're seeing all the different dynamics that's going on.
I thought that's what we were doing was fly on the wall. Like I really thought like first of all, we were lucky that we've seen this before, but other people haven't seen how this functions or how the guest has seen how the terrible guest that orders the bottles of wine and then he scolds the kind of, he's very difficult with the server because he was looking for trouble and he found it because she had a server. A server came in and greeted him, and then they switched the server.
Yes,
and it had nothing to do with the girl as much as I don't care who you. I go have another girl.
Yes.
Because now I have to deal with another person to explain the things that I want, and I'm spending this type of money here.
Yes.
Then whatever. So,
I don't even think about the money. He didn't like her. She was black.
Oh no, I don't think so.
No,
I didn't read
100%.
100%. He said, "You people."
Yes.
Okay. Did you not see that part?
Oh, I didn't read.
He was very condescending to her.
No, he was terrible to her.
To the other girl, he was like, "Oh, what's the most expensive?" He was just kind of laissez-faire about it. And then when she came,
I read that differently. I didn't really think of it as a race thing.
Oh, it was totally a race thing.
It was.
Oh, okay. I'll have to look at that scene again.
Well, yes, please do, because when you see, like, he goes, he did use the phrase "you people." Didn't you? Oh, get your hands off! I'll do it myself and things like that.
I remember him saying "you people," but I think he really did mean the service staff in that particular. I'd read into things way deeper than I would normally, and I feel like I'm at that end because I feel like I'm at the opposite end of that. Like I think he was just a fucking jerk.
But he wasn't at the
Jerk.
beginning.
Yeah, he wasn't a jerk with the girl.
He wasn't
No,
a
I get
consistent
it.
jerk, so he was so delightful when the first server. First of all, switching servers without saying anything is a little jarring.
You should be.
I don't think
greeting-
she was there to be. She was still just a server. She was just there to pop the bottle for them and keep it moving.
No, but what I'm saying here, if you buy, listen,
No, but she took back the lamb.
She was a food runner though. She ran all the food in the building.
yeah, but maybe she was running like.
What, the girl that did the
The
wine?
black girl was a food runner. She was running all the food in the entire building. If you notice,
I
every
don't
time the
think
food came out,
I don't
she was
think-
bringing it to tables.
No,
Yes.
that's no.
I
They
don't think
so
so.
what they do when they call for service, the server of that table is supposed to run the food.
I'm pretty sure she was like a food runner. I remember she was.
No, they
She
were-
was at that window more than anybody else, and she didn't have that many tables.
She was in the same position as the other girl because she was covering for her, and then she went to greet her table. Is what happened. So what happened was the other girl's running behind. So I think
Yeah,
she
was
there
late.
she was late. Yeah, she was late. And she's notorious for being late. So she goes to greet the table as soon as she walks in because I think the other girl got behind because she was late. So now she's got to cover for the girl. So she runs over, greets the table. She's all fine. Oh, great. The guy orders 2 very expensive bottles of wine according to what he was saying, and then he comes back. And then the girl comes back. Another girl comes back with his very expensive bottles of wine, and he goes, "Where is the other girl?" I honestly empathize with that. I could say, "Listen, if I ordered a $300 bottle of wine from you, I want to get it from the guy that took the order from me."
So goes back to forming relationships. Although
you
to
would have
be
just
quick,
explained it.
Yeah,
Like, so and so would be here in just a moment. They'll drop off the bottles or whatever. If you could say that, yeah, I could say that. But if you can't, like, that's not like a thing where like I asked you for a Coke and Johnny brought it. You're bringing a $300 bottle of wine.
Okay, so good point.
No, I'm 95% sure the original girl, that was her table, because even he said she's at another table, she'll be back.
No, it was you are correct. It was her table because the owner gave it to her.
Yes.
The manager, let's call her, gave it to her, and then she pulled her off. This is a function, right? Because she pulled her off of that table to go to another table again, and that's why the other girl ran the wine. And so you're right. She just said, "Oh, she's offered another table," da da da. She wasn't supposed to take over.
Yeah.
What we're seeing here in this movie is, to me, one of the things that shows that it's not a cohesive group. The owner has this particular way of doing things. Oh, I could do this. The chef isn't quite buttoned up because some of those violations are his fault.
Yes.
And so as we move along, we have we see the dysfunction where I think it's the owner's daughter. Can we agree on that?
Yes,
That's
the
running the
daughter.
place.
It's the owner's daughter.
Yes.
The manager.
She calls him at one point, and
Yeah.
then he was
Yeah.
like crying.
Yes.
So she
definitely
ends up.
the well, it's the chef's restaurant, but the owner, the daughter, is the bulk investor.
It's the financier's daughter.
Because
Yes.
the chef owns 30%, the other guy, and then I guess the daughter or the dad or whatever owns 70%.
Yeah.
So it's a yes.
A very, very, very not an unusual arrangement.
normal situation,
Things like
yeah.
that. So
Best
a
case
reservation
scenario.
comes in, and she says, "Oh, in my reservation, my lady is allergic to nuts." No, she didn't say that. He just said we have an allergy.
Yeah.
And then she goes, just in case, what is it? So it wasn't in the system because whoever takes the reservation should put all of that stuff in the system. It wasn't done, so she does a handwritten note and hands it to the kitchen. And so the sous chef says, "Why wasn't this in the system? So that way
least
we
on the
can
ticket
prepare
or
and
anything.
things
Yeah,
like that."
absolutely.
Yeah. And so that shows to me the dynamic of the restaurant where there's, procedures that aren't being followed, whether it's for the inspection or for taking reservations, or like there's no accountability because the dishwasher was late by what?
And that one dishwasher was pregnant and losing her mind.
I've literally seen those things multiple
Oh,
times.
we all see those things.
multiple times.
And we
that
even talk about who's firing dishwasher. Nobody.
No.
Okay.
Listen, the whole lateness thing is so
makes them a
triggering because we see it all the time where some people are habitually late and nothing happens to them. And so you see this girl, she walks in, where were you? Oh, and so that whole thing is just not, I don't want to say it's encouraged, but
It's not. It's what? No, it's not.
There's no consequences.
There you go. There's no consequences.
There's no consequences. So there they go. She comes in late, and then the snowball effect.
They say something, but they don't really. It's not. Yeah. There's no real consequences.
Yes. And so we're about, what do you say, a quarter into the movie at this point?
Yeah.
And so what are your feelings so far?
I love it because I feel like this movie was made for me, like in my eyes, because it was just till that point. I mean, every single aspect that I had seen before, like been a part of, felt like it's firsthand most of the time. Worst case scenario, a colleague from another store had dealt with the situation, like that. But most of these I had seen.
Oh yeah, I mean, working in a restaurant, you saw all these things.
Yeah, and particularly in the kitchen where. The chef is doling out blame, and the guy's like, "Hey, this isn't my station. This is not where I work. And so and so is supposed to be here." So when you're covering people, and then I'm new and this and that, and it's constantly that.
And what was even like the blow up and then the fix, because he had that almost like a chef temperament. We've seen that plenty of times.
Yes,
where chefs blow up and they're like. Then they apologize, it wasn't you.
Yeah.
I just was in my own head for a minute. Let me, and then you saw him coach him through, and you could see his personality come through on both ends.
Yes. I didn't have confidence in him the way that people spoke to him and the way that he spoke to people or his guests.
You could tell he was off. I felt like the whole movie he just was.
He looked like he was groggy.
Yeah, he was
the whole
not.
time. Like
he was not.
He wasn't crisp.
He's skating by. Bro.
And you can almost tell like this guy. You could the way they respect him was. It looked like in the past he was the man.
Yeah.
Like on his game. Even when they did the what was the thing? We were just talking about the inspection.
The inspection.
The guy goes, you've never had anything but a 5. So obviously. And then when they talked about it, it was his fault with the paperwork. It was his lagging of those last 2 months.
Yes.
You're starting to see the pattern where he's been off of his game for a little bit.
He's falling apart, so the places, the details are falling apart.
It's like, I don't know. I thought it was that the restaurant was only a couple months old. He'd only really just opened it with this other guy because later in the movie you find out that his ex-chef.
He quit from another situation.
And basically, but he says it's been 6 weeks. He hasn't talked to him, and he owes them like a couple $100,000 or something.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the dynamic is. Are we reading the dynamic differently? Because I think that the restaurant's rather new, and it just opened, and it's like kind of just getting going. And then the same situation that happened to him with the previous chef, he's doing to the girl that's his sous chef.
Okay,
I can see where you're coming from with that.
I see where you're coming from. I didn't get the sense that it was brand new. I get the sense that yes, the chef's old situation with his old partner that he quit from. They had less and less communication. So the 6 weeks wasn't him just getting this job and cutting him off.
Yeah.
It was him just falling behind on his arrangements to pay him back the $200,000,
yes.
and he's like, "Hey, I haven't been able to talk. You've been not been returning my calls. That's why I'm here." So he shows up with this critic, unbeknownst to him. But he should have known because the communication between the reservations
and all those kind of things.
Like, I could have been prepared. This is what struck me. He says to the manager lady says, "Hey, so and so is coming in, with this critic," and then he says, "Well, I'm not ready." She says, "Why aren't you ready?" He says, "Well, I need time. I should be prepared." She goes, "You should be prepared every night.
Every time.
Every guest is a VIP."
Yeah.
And so
you should already have these things in house.
Yes.
You shouldn't be worried about if he needs something special. Now, if you want to make a special dish, but you should already have all the tools you need in the building.
Exactly. And so really on in the movie, we do get a sense of, oh, chef, we're low on this. Why didn't you order that? He screwed up orders and cars.
He was really off.
He was off because they were wondering if they could put a menu together. They're low on this, they're low on that. So the staff.
And it was the holidays, so you can't get stuff in on the way. That's how we also knew that things weren't coming in the way they should because it was the holidays. So yes, this place, they go, well, I can go here. He goes, no. It's Christmas time. They're closed, Joe. That's like when they're talking about like steaks and certain things like that. Well, the things that they didn't have in the building, they couldn't get because of the holidays, and it should have been taken care of already.
Yeah, but also the owner did it. The chef didn't order it.
Originally, no.
And it was a Friday, so
it wasn't ordered correctly, and it was a holiday on top of that, so there was no way to get it in time.
And then the staff is already like had it with the chef looks like.
Yes.
You know, you already see it. So there's a new person at the salad station, which means they went through somebody else.
Yes,
He's
great
unwilling.
point.
He's got the worst employee in the world, the dishwasher. Won't fire him. Like, he has zero power.
But
Like,
why?
he's-
Why?
No.
Why won't he fire
No,
him?
yeah, 'cause he's got no.
All right.
We'll get to that in a minute.
Okay, let's talk about it now, though.
Oh, go ahead.
Why won't he fire him?
Well,
The
'cause
dishwasher's
there's
the plug.
Oh, the dishwasher's like, you can't fire a dishwasher.
No. The dishwasher's the plug.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's who he's
you
getting
didn't
his coke
catch
from.
that.
Yeah, the dishwasher's the plug.
Yeah, the
Oh, well,
dishwasher's getting him
I
the
mean,
coke.
Let me read into that. All right,
Yo,
we'll keep going.
this thing is just levels, bro. It's crazy.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean,
The
it
dishwasher's
absolutely
the plug.
makes sense.
Remember when the dishwasher
Then the
goes
girl went
outside?
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The dishwasher's the plug.
Yeah. That's why he ain't firing him. Besides the fact that you don't fire a dishwasher.
Besides the fact-
Besides the fact you don't
Well,
fire
Well, the thing
dishwashers.
is, my idea, the reason that I didn't see it, I just assume every dishwasher's a drug dealer. I mean, I've never not had, like, I've never wear.
Never not had. Yo, I mean,
Wow.
let's not discourage our dishwasher friends, okay?
I'm just exactly.
I mean, it
I'm
could
always
be.
exactly.
It's a 50-50 thing, but you know.
No, what I mean, not the old
Let's
man
be
that's
clear,
washing dishes.
it could be
I'm
almost
talking-
anybody in the. It could be server,
anybody in the building.
bartender, anybody in
No,
the
I
building.
know.
You got
Could
one
be
in the building,
host.
is what you're saying.
Yo,
What I'm saying
you got
is-
one in the building.
got
You
one
got
in the building.
multiples.
Nah,
You got
nah.
backups.
You got backup.
There's more than one drug dealer in every restaurant.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but generally speaking, there's like almost like a long-running joke for years. If you ever want some pot, go into any restaurant and they ask for the dishwasher, and he'll hook you up. That's what I've always heard. Is that not? Is that? I wasn't trying to be racist towards dishwashers.
No, that's not.
I just assumed that's the case. That's why I didn't put two and two together.
But this
At least
dishwasher
that's
was
my excuse.
particularly loose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he's very obtuse about his late. He was just sitting down on the job and things like that.
Yeah, he was chilling.
He was chilling,
Yeah.
and that particularly is annoying because at the beginning of the shift, the bartender and one of the servers cheersed and did a shot.
With a guest. With the dude
It,
who's...
it was a guest.
yeah, the guy who's getting married. The one...
Okay.
That was the guest who was sitting at the bar.
Yeah,
And then the bartender... That's why he turned his back to everybody, did the shot right there in front of the screen. And
Yeah.
then moving.
That was very real.
That was normal.
That,
That was business as usual
yeah,
right
it was so like.
Pretty on the point.
Yeah.
Here's what it was disjointed for me. The fact that it was supposed to be a busy night, but
Yeah.
everyone had casual ass conversations. I didn't feel the tension of
But
the
it's
busyness.
also a small place, so
And
it
then also
had
what
that,
they were doing.
That was the intimacy of the place that I liked about it. It was the place was very intimate. You know, they had that one back room where that guy with the asshole was with the bottles of wine.
Okay.
And then you go out when it looked like almost like an L.
It is a small place,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
no
yeah.
one's feet quickened.
No.
They were talking about like, oh, it's a busy night, pre-shift, all this stuff, and even as they plated food and things like that, it was very like, you know.
Oh no, but that was that. I mean, I know I liked that. I saw that as well, but it almost looked like I felt like it was remnant of. Was Burnt the one with our boy from Hangover?
Favreau?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, that
No.
was Chef.
Yeah.
That's- okay.
Okay. This movie,
that's
to
fine.
me, is the prequel to Burnt. Okay, like we talked about Burnt.
I can see that.
You know what I mean? Like, imagine that, and then he had to come back, shuck all his oysters.
Yes.
And this is to me is him
Very astute.
becoming him.
That's an excellent point, and I agree with you. I just, as a movie now, just pulling that back in a movie, or even a restaurant movie, if you're going to tell me we're going to be busy, or we're going to be short, and this and that, there needs to be some quickening pace or some, and there could have been some challenges because of the way
the
that
setup,
the movie
yeah.
was shot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't just jump cut to this person being busy or whatever. And I just didn't get a hold of
A sense of urgency.
anyone.
Nobody has a sense of urgency in the
That as well, but I didn't get a story. You know, I didn't know who the chef was talking to on the phone the whole time. I'm assuming that it was his ex-wife or wife
Yeah.
about his son
Yeah.
not,
I
he's
felt
not
like
being
it-
there.
I mean, I felt like it was mostly his wife and his kid,
Mm-hmm.
but it was kind of more so he's calling his personal life. It's more like his only personal life is on his phone in a cooler somewhere.
Yes.
Where he can just fucking like.
he misses out almost like with the other movie Chef that we were just talking about.
Yes.
Where he had been so dysfunct as a dad. You see all these little pieces coming together of this chef, like, this is why his life is collapsing.
Yes.
You can see it all falling apart around him, and you can start seeing in the restaurant what's going on because of these things.
The way that I also looked at it was that the chef, the little time, and I've noticed this before, like you're busy working
So much.
Every waking moment you're working, right? And the little moment that you try to like share with your family or your loved ones or whatever, you're almost made to feel guilty to even pick up the phone and look at it. I swear to God, that's how I felt for a long time. Because if you're not concentrating on this, this isn't what you're now, this is what, and I really have felt that where you're like, no, you can't, I'm answering my girlfriend's texts or something. And now you feel guilty about it because I'm not dedicating. And I'm telling you, in my experience, that's how I was made to feel. And that's on purpose. And I assure you, all these corporations do the same thing because they want you working a little really fucking hard there all the time.
Yeah. Now, we're getting long on time, so I want to get through the last quarter of the movie. And so I believe we've done a good job.
We're right at the point of the guest. So we're right at the point where we've talked about the allergy. Now that guest is there. We've kind of established that the one guy's going to get married. His girlfriend has an allergy. Yes. Okay, this is where the catalyst of the movie comes into play.
Also, there's some tension with, we talked about, hey, man, you need to pay me back my money.
Yes.
Things aren't going too well for me. And,
he needs his money.
There's $200,000.
Or he wants into the restaurant.
Yes, he's putting pressure on the chef to cut him in on his 30%. Yeah.
One thing we can't overlook is the situation with the collision between the front of the house and the back of the house, where the sous chef had enough with the request of the front of the house manager, who came up to her and said, "Just cut steaks. What are you talking about?"
There's some BS influencers that I'll just set it up for everyone. There's some BS influencers.
Oh yeah, just going above and beyond for no reason when you don't have the stuff in house that you don't have. If you don't have something, you don't have it.
Well, things are already stressful enough as it is and limited, and now you're asking us to do this, and then you see. I've seen that before too. I've seen somebody dress somebody down in front of you that you're like, yo, you feel bad for them. Like, I've been in a situation where people have tried to do it to me, but then, that usually don't work out either for them. But because I've been in that position a while, so you already have you ready. But I felt like it was the most impactful time in the front because it was the clashing of the front of the house and the back of the house, which there is constantly a divide no matter how much everybody loves each other in the building. The front of the house and the back of the house,
they're going to clash.
So it's important to tell people what happened. These guys, they were talking to the server, and I believe, wasn't it the black girl? And she said, they said, hey, is this your menu? Do you don't have any steaks?
Yeah,
she's like, oh, not tonight. She's like, what kind of restaurant doesn't have steaks? We want steaks. And she goes, we don't have them. Let's talk to the manager. I have so many followers and this and that. Manager comes over. Oh, sure.
Whatever you
want.
Sure, we have steaks. How do you want your steaks? You know what I mean? And so the issue with that is she's seeing things from her point of view. She wants to promote for the restaurant. She wants to make the guests feel happy. What's the big deal? She doesn't see the big deal because she doesn't have to deal with the kitchen. She doesn't have to go off script with the menu.
Make prep stuff, then cut fries and cut a steak and weigh and all this stuff and make it. It's a whole different prep.
It's a whole different prep, and it takes you off of what you're doing for the menu that you executed.
The thing that's already difficult to do already.
Yes.
Now you're asking, on top of all the difficulties that we're dealing with the holidays, with it being a busy night, and then you're gonna a monkey wrench is what you're throwing.
Oh yeah, she's lobbing it in
because nobody wants it. All the three of the people that are either able to do it are not willing to do it because they feel that the other person should do it.
Yeah.
But they're just mad at the other one. I'll do it, and this one will do it. It's just the acrimony is so constant.
And without even saying, let me see what I could do, and then finding out, can we do this?
Yeah.
And she probably could have gotten the steaks if she didn't just demand it.
Absolutely.
And so she goes and then like you said, she got dressed down. Yeah. She's like, he's like, the sous chef was like, yo, Nobody are the worst. Likes you here. No one likes you. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know your effing job. Da 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 da. What is it we're doing here? Ba 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 ba. So then was that the first boiling point, really? That was the first one.
That was the first boiling point, yes.
Then they're running out of stuff. They run out of the sauce. Chef just says, oh, just use this other one for the dressing for the salad. And then it turns out that dressing that they ran out of was safe.
Yes.
For the nut allergy, he substituted it out.
The other dressing has walnut oil in it, which is huge. It doesn't have any nuts in it, but it has walnut oil, which is
Yes. And so, can you help me? She starts to have this allergic reaction. Ambulance is called, and then the guy that is owed money is putting pressure on the chef to throw the sous chef onto the bus so that they can stay afloat
before a disaster
and look good on this thing. Ambulance comes, and he is just out of it. He's just bumbling around, not taking authority as an owner in the restaurant. He's like, oh, everything I think is going to be okay, and he's not a very likable character in my opinion.
The culmination of it was, for me, was not good. That's the part of the movie I didn't like the most because it's probably the least one I know about because I don't really get involved with the minutia of financiers and whatever. Also, he was just really what the other guy had said. He really was never going to be a great chef, and the guy was trying to be condescending and insulting to the guy in front of his wife to him, but he was not wrong. Just based on what I could see, the guy was. His sous chef had a better, understanding of things in the way they should. This guy was either never good or he's just running on fumes and isn't able to, do what it is. And then
I think it's the latter. I think it's more of he had a lot of stress in his life and because you could tell obviously, if you like we were talking about earlier, you could see respect even in his fuck up. He had respect of the staff. They just wanted him to be his normal self.
Yeah.
Yes and no. I
mean, they were losing the respect for him.
They were losing the respect for him.
They had it to begin with.
They did have it to begin with. However, we see this a lot where it is the sous chef that ends up holding everything together.
Absolutely.
And doing the commands. And then this guy is out in the front sipping on some wine with the table. Oh, maybe I should get back. And then he's doing this. And I get it. You're really juggling your part management and your part, orchestrator of your position, which is executive chef and things like that. But he just didn't have it for me, He
also cowered at the moment that his mentor, that current business partner, came in, and instead of being, hey, yo, I'm gonna do it up, he's like, oh, you got this? Like, you mean you got this? Remember he says that to the sous chef?
Yeah.
What do you mean? He goes, and then she calls it out. Is it because this guy's here? And then he goes, whatever. And then she's got to keep him off that ledge. He's constantly on a ledge. This guy.
Constantly on a ledge, and then that's when I started to wonder what. And I wrote in my notes,
what's in that white bottle?
Yeah, what's in the water bottle? What's in the water bottle?
I knew it was in the water bottle immediately.
So then, he's sipping on this water bottle the entire movie, and so the ambulance comes, give her an EpiPen, and
they calm her
he
down.
looks like crap.
He looks like shit.
He ends up
He looks like shit. They finally get the girl in the ambulance, and then he brings everybody in the back of the house, and we find out the issue, what exactly happened, because nobody knew why there was no, the kitchen didn't understand why, because everything they prepped had no nuts in it. Nobody could try to figure, and then that's where it comes out that it was the head chef's fault. He told her to use this dressing. This girl, this poor salad lady who's brand new a weekend, is breaking down. Our regular chef or our line chef lays out the truth for the chef.
Yes.
Okay, breaks him down and tells him about himself. Okay, everybody kind of goes into their own way. You see the chef go into the back. Then it all comes together in a piece. He does a line of Coke. You see the bag that he just got from his boy.
Yes.
Line of Coke. Pouring the vodka into the bottle, the water bottle. We see him sipping the entire night.
Yes.
Okay. As he's walking out the door, he collapses, has a heart attack. Boom, the movie's over.
Yes, but very, very, very important that he got on the phone.
He was on the phone with his kid.
Apologetic. Hey, I'm sorry I missed it. Oh, you did good and all that stuff. So his work life is an imbalance, which kind of does happen with people that are very, not obsessed, but buried in their work almost. And he does have, he collapses, and then the movie fades to black, but you still hear...
That was the boiling point. You hear the people coming, oh my God, what's going on?
Yes.
I mean, it even took a minute, because you see him on the ground for a while. It took people to recognize, just to see what was going on.
Yeah.
And that would be normal in a normal restaurant anyways. He's in that back little area right by the bathroom. Think about how long you could probably sit there in almost any restaurant, depending on where your bathroom is, especially in a little spot like that.
Yeah, I didn't get the sense it was a bathroom. It was like his back office or
something.
Well,
it looked like the hallway that leads to the bathroom, and then the cut off
like little cubby hole he found for himself.
the cubby hole.
Do you think if the accident never happens, if at the beginning the reservation is taken correctly, And then the manager, when she is reinstate, like the guest says, "Hey, by the way, she's gonna. Are you cool with that?"
Yeah, but those are normal things that would always
what I'm
happen.
saying, absolutely no problem. Then she writes it down on a piece of paper. Then she hands it over to another person. So already we made the mistake that we never took it, and instead of taking care of that directly to the kitchen, she hands it over to the messenger. The messenger goes over there and hands the little slip to the girl. Say, "Hey, listen, there's an allergy on table 13." Then he goes, well, this isn't the procedure. Why isn't it in the computer? Like, meanwhile, like, listen, sweetheart, I'm just a messenger. 1,000 times it's happened to me.
Yeah.
And he goes, what do you mean? He goes, well, I go, I'm just delivering a message. They said that those, I go, well, they need to change it, and you gotta,
you should have put it in the system. Put it in the system next time.
Yeah, and you're like, and meanwhile, the faces that I've had in that situation, I'm like, oh yeah, absolutely, yeah, I'll make sure to let them know.
Yes.
And that's it. And you walk away because you're not going to tell her nothing.
No.
Now, as a movie, what did you rate it?
I believe if you're doing the first act, if you can divide this movie in an act, which is weird, we can't. Let's just look time wise. First act, second act was terrific, because it just was geared to me, something that I know about. The last act, I felt disconnected from it, and it's maybe because I don't know enough about that aspect of the restaurant business. And that
But
aspect.
it's just a regular movie, not a restaurant movie.
No,
regular movie.
Regular movie. I thought it was solid. I would say like a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
And also because the way it's shot, you got to give people credit for that. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah,
like,
the way it was shot was amazing.
There's a couple shots in movies where, like in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, they do a long running shot,
but not the whole thing.
Not the whole thing, but you're impressed with it when you see it. You're like, oh, that's different. I can see there's something different there. I can't make it out, but it's because it's all running. Well, I thought it was really good. 7 out of 10.
I give it 7, 7.5, 7 out of 10 for the movie itself.
For the movie itself.
Give it what you want to give it. Don't beat around the bush. You ain't got to do anything.
I'm like a 6.5.
Okay.
And that's with the kudos for the way that it was shot.
Yeah,
and things like that. I just didn't get the sense that I got to know. I'm no worse for wear as a regular movie for understanding any one of these characters. There's no character development, no depth, no storyline. I didn't know. To pick out the guy that I thought we were going to follow this guy that was rude to this guest, or that story, not, or the dishwasher situation, not, whose baby is that, not. The most I got was the couple that was getting engaged. We didn't get everything was so surface. Even the chef was surface. I didn't.
But, so now we rated it as a movie.
Yes.
Now, as a restaurant movie.
Yes.
I'm gonna give it like an 8.5. Okay, I'm gonna tell you why. Because, with just all the things you just said, that's what you see in a restaurant. We are surface. We are all those things. Okay, we are the mirror. We're not the behind the glass. What the guest sees as the fly on the wall is what we want them portrayed to see, and that's how the thing was shot, and that's why I like the movie as a whole.
Yeah, and that's a great point. That's a great point. Do we really know? Like, okay, as servers, I don't know half the shit that goes on in the kitchen.
Absolutely.
Or the people there.
Absolutely.
On the surface, I could walk by, I could hear a little conversation, maybe not, or the bartenders, but I know my servers more.
Yeah.
And so that's a great point. And Mr. Omar.
I thought it was incredibly direct. I want to say it was like an 8 out of 10 as far as that, because it just was as close to as accurate as I've ever seen anything ever done, based on what I've seen. Again, the financier stuff and the guy going all crazy, you got to throw her under the bus. It seems a little over the top. That like just
for an analogy.
Yeah. Like it's not.
Which was weird, because how is that going to really save anything? The restaurant's still
the
going to
end all be all. Yeah, the lady had an allergy,
to
messed up. I mean, it happens.
Yeah,
and he just
you didn't want it to happen,
there.
but it happened.
I just happened to find you on the one day that this situation happens. And what you need to do, get the fuck. There's a lot of things going for that to land.
Yeah.
Okay, so
no, I thought, but overall, aside from that, that gives it an 8 out of 10. I think it's
okay.
Spectacular.
As a restaurant movie.
As a restaurant movie.
Restaurant movie, I'm a 7.5, and again, love the fact that it was well balanced. It wasn't just about the kitchen or a chef or you
saw the moving parts.
It was all the moving parts. Yeah. I thought it did a really good job with that. Other than that, I would have liked to seen some reality of the Friday night holiday thing. I didn't get that tension. I didn't get that, oh my God, we are in it.
Yeah.
They were never in it. They were just too loose, and it was just like, oh, I didn't get that part. So that is it. And so thank you so much. I'm Marlon Joseph, the Modern Waiter. Thank you so much, Omar, for joining us once again. It was perfect.
Pleasure.
I'm Danny Villa, and subscribe, people.
We'll see you next time.
Later.
My life is like a movie that was never recorded. A bunch of beat footage, musical with no chorus. Created by God, starring yours truly, directed by moms, pops, the editor.